Father God, Lord, we just come to you again for another wonderful day, Lord. We're just so grateful that we have this opportunity. We just ask that that you allow us to just speak the words that you want us to speak, God, that you're able to allow us to spread the wisdom and knowledge and hope to the world that you want us to spread, God, and just fill us with your guidance, Lord, as we walk through this. We pray this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 13 of Discipline and Legacy. I got my boy Alex Rodriguez Torres that came in to have a conversation with me today. I got the privilege of meeting Alex last week. Guy's killing it locally in the commercial real estate market. He informed me that there is a big difference, and I'm learning a lot from him. And I want everybody that's watching to learn as well. So, Alex, thank you for coming today, man.
Cool. Thanks for having me. I sincerely appreciate it. And you're killing it too, by the way. So
it's all God,
yeah,
man.
Yeah. Very honored to be here with you today. Absolutely.
So we are in episode 13. We both wore our business attire today. We're coming out of the field and kind of wanted to jump into kind of Alex's past. And if you want to just go back to kind of your start, what got you to where you are today?
Sure. Yeah. So we come from a Cuban family. So my grandfather, he had a pretty significant empire, so to speak, in Havana, Cuba, including a hospital there, and he had a whole staff. And in 1958, there was a guy that told him and other political people in that time what his plan was going to be for Cuba. He went to that dinner that night with the guy that was going to give his plan, and my grandfather went in there. The guy that came in was Fidel Castro.
Wow.
So Castro told what he was going to do with Cuba, and my grandfather shook his head with Fidel there and the other politicians and business people. And he went home that night, couldn't sleep, told my grandmother, listen, we have to leave Cuba immediately. We need to get everybody. This man's going to destroy Cuba as we know it. And it was a nice place back then. Tropicana,
wow.
Everything was thriving. It was a great place. So he literally had to make the decision of leaving everything, starting with $5 in the pocket, no English, and then rebuilding himself here in the United States. I mentioned him first because we were raised in a way where you got to work hard and have good, thick bloodline to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your word, make sure you work hard, and make sure you're focused, and be a good person.
100%.
And so, with that said, he taught us really, my brother and I, and the rest of the family, what working with good work ethic, what that really means. And so, fast forward to tape, when I was probably started in high school and then getting into when I was about 21, I ended up getting into trouble. I DJ'd nightclubs and stuff, so I was in the nightlife. And
where was this, here in Florida?
Yeah, so I DJ'd locally. So there was a place in Stewart. It was 007 back in the day.
Okay.
I DJ'd Club Flirts in Palm Beach, Club KGB in Miami Beach. And we've done stuff in Daytona, raves, just all kinds of crazy stuff, right? So, once that kind of wore off and you're done with that, you then try to go to the next level. And I was with friends of mine in Palm Beach. Was one night I had been drinking, and I fell asleep at the wheel on Okeechobee Road in West Palm Beach. When I fell asleep at the wheel, according to the accident report, my windows were down, my sunroof was open. I hit a royal palm tree going 80 to 100 miles an hour. And when I hit the palm tree, my car did a 360, and then I rolled 100 yards, a football field. So
Wow.
I rolled eight times. Ended up on the other side of oncoming traffic. And at that point, I regained consciousness, and I had one eye open. I was spitting blood. When I was spitting blood, I come from a medical family. Everybody's doctor in my family. And so I was told, if you have internal bleeding, you're going to die pretty quick. So at that point, I just began to pray. When I prayed, I just basically, at that moment, I was, again, one eye open. I was spitting blood. I was praying. I could see and hear all the police and fire trucks and lights all around me.
Mm-hmm.
The paramedics said, don't worry, buddy, we're going to get you out of there. And the car shook when I was praying. It was shaking because they were cutting it open with the jaws of life. They put me on the stretcher to a helicopter that was close by. Took me to Jupiter trauma unit. And what I was told there was I would never walk again. I'd have a ruptured aorta, ruptured spleen. The worst was told to me there as I was laying in the hospital bed in ICU. And what happened after that was two things that were high impact for me. One, my family came that night and I couldn't move or say anything. I could see them standing over me. And I didn't know, because they were crying too. I didn't know if they were looking at my dead body, crying at me a lot like I was dead, or if I was alive. I couldn't move. I was
Right. Paralyzed.
with everything that happened. I literally. So after that, I ended up going to figure out with ICU. I woke up and I was in ICU, and they let me out of ICU, and I walked out of there. I didn't have a ruptured spleen. I didn't have a ruptured aorta. I had all my body parts. I could see. I could breathe. And what happened was, when I was spitting the blood, the airbag, when it deployed, it split my lip open. So it was giving me the impression as though it was internal, but it was from the external part. So it was recirculating. And so with that whole episode, I've learned that when things go beyond science in life, there's science, which is 1 + 1 = 1. But when 1 + 1 = 1,000,
Right.
there's something there. And for me, that was God. In
100%.
regards to that happening. I call it a God incidence, not a coincidence.
Right, right.
And so once that happened, I was like, you know something, I'm thankful just to see. Like, I can see trees,
Right,
I can
right.
talk, I have all my body parts. So from that day forward, the ignition within myself started, the fire, the inner fire, to get my shit together, be focused, be grateful every
How old
single
were you
day.
when this happened?
I was 21.
21. Okay.
And so at that point, I just started going after my dreams, like life or death, because at this point, I feel like I have nothing to
Yeah,
lose.
yeah.
I was
Super
just
grateful,
blessed with
thankful, humbled.
second
Yeah.
life,
All
yeah.
of that. Yeah.
So at that point, I was blessed with the miracle of having a second chance at life. So I started to just attack my dreams and goals, and I started as a kid with nobody believing in me, because I have a family of all doctors. They want you to be a doctor.
Right.
If you don't go to doctor, if you're not a doctor, you're nothing, basically.
Yeah.
And that sucks, because I've learned that people in life believe in you only when you do it. But in the beginning, nobody's there for you. Once you're successful, hey, we knew you'd make it.
Yeah,
You know what I
they're
mean?
come on, you're not that. You'll never be this. You'll never be that. And then when you get there, like, good job, we're proud of you. But what happened back then when you were, doubting?
Exactly. So that happened on first deal. What I did was I started to self-educate. I would go to Barnes and Noble and take, my first book I read was Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes, sir.
I read all his books, and then started reading more and more development, real estate investment books. A guy named Ron LeGrand. He was from Jacksonville, Florida. I followed a lot of his stuff. And you get all the knowledge that you can, but then take the next step. I call it the 1% of what champions are made of,
Right.
which is to take action with that knowledge. Because you'll see a lot of real estate investment seminars. Everybody gets pumped up. They have the information, the blueprint on how to do it, but they don't do that 1% to take the action.
Or they
they're
have
afraid.
it for like 2 weeks, and then that was me though. I was a procrastinator. I was like, all right, I'm doing it, and then I would fall off. And I think that's pretty common because of the lack of consistency that was in my life at the time. But that's crazy. Barnes and Noble, I remember it, but it's kind of like a dying breed of like real books. And,
Yeah. And I get a
and-
legal pad and just copy all the best stuff out of all the books and then leave. Because back then as a kid, I was like, I was 21. I didn't have much money at all.
Right.
Just
Go
started,
there and read the books. And
I didn't want to pay $30. I would just sit there. That was my school,
Right.
self-education. My college was go there and copy all the best info. So I guess that fear of what I learned in life is false evidence appearing real.
Right.
People have all the information. They want to continue to go to the next seminar and then go get pumped up and motivated and don't do anything with it. So I got all the info, and then I started going to St. Lucie County to the foreclosure department. And I met a mentor of mine there, and I'll never forget what he said. I was looking through the pre-foreclosure cases, because back then it wasn't online. It was all you have to go in person. And I start looking through it, and I hear this guy out of nowhere. I don't know the guy. He's like, "Hey, you're doing it wrong, man." I'm like, "I'm a kid." I'm like, "Who are you, man? What are you
how
doing
do you
wrong?"
know what I'm even doing?
Yeah, and I won't curse in the show, but I thought the guy was not a very nice guy. I was like, "What's your problem?" He's like, "You're doing it wrong." I said, "What do you mean I'm doing it wrong?" He's like, all the majority of the other investors are looking at the same stuff. He says, "You want to catch fish in the ponds others aren't going into. Start at the bottom of the list." I was like, this guy's speaking a little knowledge. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And I did that. I started at reverse. Most people are looking at the top of the list. I started looking at the bottom of the list. And that's how I landed the first deal that I did. I was foreclosure knocking on cases. And this was a house. It was 13 cats and 2 dogs. Ugly, ugly, ugly house. Disgusting house. And back then, remember, you're 21. And how are you going to tell an owner, look, I'm going to buy your house cash and pay quickly from all the stuff you've learned? if you're a kid, I had to say it was from my grandparents. So I told a white fib, but it was to allow them to believe there'd be a deal there.
Right.
I had funding from Miami in the form of private money, 12% interest, 3 points up front.
Okay.
And, I had to convince them, not only are we going to make money, but to lend it to me. And let's do it, even though I'd never done it before.
Right.
So I was all in. And it took 3.5 months to buy it, fix it, flip it. I did everything with my two hands, my brother and I. I want to know how much it costs, how long it takes, because I want to hire other contractors. And as kids, I don't want to get ripped off. So I bought it, sold it, flipped it, and I showed my pops the check. Remember, my pops was against this.
Right.
You forget this real estate stuff, be a doctor, go to med school. And I said, Pops, 13 years of school, $350,000 to $400,000 of debt. And then the HMO insurance company say, hey, we want half of what you make. It's a horrible business deal. And I don't have a passion for medicine. I have a passion for business. So I stuck with my passion, which was real estate. And I showed him the check. Pops, at that point, he's like, Alex, we need to do deals together.
Let's go.
Yeah. I'm like, well, Pops, what happened before? You said I was crazy and all this, right? So that was like the validity that I was telling you on. A lot of people, they don't follow their passion because others don't see it or haven't done it before. So you got to break through that.
Were you that type of guy too, where like somebody told you couldn't do something, it made you want to do it even more?
Absolutely.
I was the kid at Disney World. It was like, Johnny, don't do that. And I'm like, what?
Yep.
Like,
that means do it. And do it to the best you can.
And don't touch the stove. It's hot. I had to see if it was hot.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. It's hot.
Yeah. It's a good and bad, I think, for our case, because it gets you hurt in life, but then you learn never to do certain things. But then it allows you to open up other doors that normally people wouldn't go through.
Because you're walking in, I'm not going to say fearless, but like with higher stakes. But, what's that saying is like, somebody who's on top has just failed more times than you've even tried. So
that's right.
The folks that aren't trying aren't high stakes because they aren't trying. So
100%. Yeah, I highly agree with that. So did that first deal, and then I started getting into land flips, like tax deed properties.
Okay.
In this area primarily, I moved here in 1991. So
I love that about you, man, is that you're local. Everything's like in the same area, like where I grew up in. The last couple guests I've had were local, so it's just great because we get to hear about our area.
And you too, man. I like that you're local. I think when you got a good team too together, like I look forward for us to do some stuff in the development world. I think there's a saying, sounds kind of cheesy, but I believe it to be true, which is teamwork makes the dream work.
It does.
And if you have a solid group around you of what I call quality versus quantity, that's where I think things really start to happen the right way.
Yeah.
So within the town, started flipping properties, doing tax deed properties, foreclosures, and then a friend of mine who was doing, he was actually on the Hutchinson Island doing residential real estate. Then he transitioned into commercial real estate. I was always flipping my own properties and residential stuff. He's like, listen, you need to do this commercial real estate thing with me, Alex. I was like, look, I don't like realtors. They've messed my deals up. I just want to be an investor, and that's it. No offense to realtors. There's a lot of great realtors out there. I just to be creative in terms of deals and push the boundaries, which is what I like to do. It's hard to do that when there's a box in the box thinking on certain deals. You know? So with that said, I'm like, look, I'm not really cut out for having a license and all that kind of thing. I'd rather maneuver on my own as an investor. He says, no, you'll like it, and I know how you do your flips and stuff. Come do commercial real estate with me. I'm like, all right, okay. I got my license, and we started taking down buildings. I started in Stewart. I was with him for 9 years, and we became like the young guns in town, flipping, doing a lot more business than your typical firm in town, who most of the guys were older than us in the business. And developed good reputation. And then the time came to do my own firm. So sold the Virginia College in Fort Pierce, that one up there, about 75,000 square footer, and then all the shopping plaza surrounding that. And then once I finalized that deal, I went ahead and opened up my company.
Nice.
And then so it's been about 17 years of commercial real estate. And we also do development. We do sales, leasing. We sell businesses, which happen organically, liquor licenses.
Wow.
And then we, buy.
Just dealing with people, you end up running into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So we try to be a, one-stop shop. So like, asking the client questions that help them, instead of just doing a one-off deal and making a fee and see you later, it's building a relationship. I want to do 5 years legitimately with the client sitting in front of me versus just a one-off deal. And the way we do that is the first question to ask a client is, what are you going to do with the money when we get you there? People aren't thinking about that.
Right.
Are you going to take a tax hit on the whole thing, capital gains? Are you going to give it to your kids? Do you want to reinvest it? So just thinking in the terms of what's the best for the seller, and then taking that and already having a plan in place before they even get there has helped us a lot and helps the client. So the more we help the client, the more we build and grow. And so that's worked really good organically.
Right.
And then that transitioned into selling businesses, development property, joint venturing with people, equity stuff together. And then, we have our own stuff. So happy about that. But, for the most part, it's a great market that we're in. And this local town of Port St. Lucie is growing exponentially.
Definitely
really
is.
We don't need to go to Palm Beach and other places for opportunity. People are coming here.
I get that a lot. The folks are wanting us to go to Orlando or to Naples, and it's like, don't have to leave here, man. There's enough around town for now.
Exactly.
Yeah. We still can go west here. Down south you can't. They got the Everglades, and we still got a lot going on, and a lot has happened already in this area. And it, just like me, that we've been here since the dirt roads and the very beginning. So
yeah. PSL Boulevard was 2 lanes.
Yep.
I think we talked out by
Rosser used to go all the way through dirt road on where Veranda is now on the backside of Tesoro.
Yeah.
All that.
South Bend was you could ride 4-wheelers and stuff back there. So
yep.
The whole town has changed. So it's cool to see that transformation, and it's good to be a part of it. In terms
Definitely.
of the local side.
Definitely.
So I'll fast forward to where we are today. So that was kind of where it started, from the family, Cuba,
right?
My accident, and then that's led me to this year, which is more purpose driven. So like, I think there comes a point in your life where you want to figure out what's not only your passion in business or whatever someone follows, but what's your purpose. And I think that you doing what you're doing here, I commend you 100%. And I think you're flowing with the right messages that come through to help other people and inspire other people and do what authentically is supposed to be done in life. I think we're created in an instrument, and how we use that instrument to inspire and help other people and put together what we put together in life, I think is super important. So with that said, this year is more of a purpose-driven life. So since my accident, I made a promise that, thank you, God, for giving me the gift of life. I'm going to repay you by giving back to those who are less fortunate. So it turned into, over the years, again, I was 21, I'm much older than that now. It's turned into not people that are less fortunate, but people that are less knowledgeable of what they're capable of. So I think that I really want to inspire other people to ignite their own flame and capability that they have within themselves. So sometimes people don't believe in themselves, and it's important to ignite that and get them to believe in what it is they're capable of doing.
For more than 2 weeks.
That's right. Breaking boundaries,
That's the biggest thing that I like to stand on, man, is it like, and it's big, like even in church or in the Christian realm too, where they're like, oh yeah, I had 7,000 people say the prayer of salvation this year. Okay, what did you do after that? And like taking these people by under your wing, so to speak. Somebody did that for me. I was discipled or mentored. You call it whatever you want. It's the same thing, right? Somebody's coming alongside of you and walking with you for a year, 6 months, whatever it is, until they're like, all right. And then, like the guy that discipled me, like comes to me, he's like, man, I never would have thought you'd be where you are today. And I told you the story about the ministry that's down the hall, and it's like same thing. Like this guy was like, we used to bump heads back whenever I'd gotten out of jail the first time, and he's, what did he said something to me. He's like, and I was like, I'm unique. I'm not the same guy that comes through here, your ministry, like, because I've always been that way my whole life. Like I feel like God kind of, we all have it, but when you believe it and you can stand on it and walk in it, there's a difference.
Yeah.
And I've always felt that about myself, that like, not better than anybody else, but just different in the way that, like, instead of hanging out with the crowd, I was always like kind of off to the side doing my own thing to better myself and grow.
Absolutely. There's a saying, it's what you frequently see is your frequency.
Okay.
And that's something I believe in. And also, like what you just said, that hits a chord, which is, manifesting things into our life, right? And so, like, you can either, a lot of people want to see it to believe it, but if you believe it, you'll then see it, and 100%, there's a difference.
Like you already got it.
That's right. And I think that, like when we have the guys in the office, I do once a month we do a training session for 3 hours.
Awesome.
Now I could be doing other deals, using that time in another way, but I feel it's really important to start that whole session out with mindset and motivation, and getting down to the core of what's our intention for the day. And what I tell my guys, it doesn't matter if we're selling real estate or doing, site development or selling ice cream.
Yeah.
If you get your mindset right in the day, early in the day, that's where the rest of your day will flow and you start.
What time do you wake up in the morning?
I'm 5 a.m. rise every day. Yeah, every day. And so with that said, what I tell them to do is don't touch your phone in the first part of the morning.
Yeah.
Most of the time people are on defense in terms of their thoughts versus offense. So I don't touch my phone. I tell my guys for the first 20 minutes, just put yourself in a state of gratitude. What are you thankful for? Thank you for me breathing now and being able to take on this day where there's somebody else who didn't take their breath right now.
Yeah.
And contrasting the gratitude that we have every day. If you get to the office, you've already won. If you've already gotten to the office and won, you didn't get in a car accident, you have your family, you have your health, you live in a great country to have opportunity.
Yeah.
All these things, and you keep stacking it. Making $1 above that is just a bonus. And so the money part is easier. But I think that most people don't do that. They're usually reactive. So wake up in the morning, first thing is emails, text messages, responding to everybody.
Right.
And if you're in such a responsive mode, you don't get to flow with creativity or what your intention is with the day. So I think it's super important to get that right first.
Building that spiritual connection to start your day off. Yeah. Instead of the
100%
caught up in the everyday drive or it's like I say the same thing. I walk out the door and I look up and I see the sunrise or I see the moon and look at the stars or hear the birds chirp, and it's like that connection first. Yeah. It doesn't always have to be like on your knees praying. It's always, but just saying, I see you, God. Like, I got that connection.
100%.
So, and it does. Like, I tell people before my feet hit the floor, am I perfect at it? No, because sometimes the phone is what woke me up, so what was it kind of deal. But I agree 100% with setting yourself up for a positive day. And if you mess up and you miss it right in the beginning, guess what? You can start at 9. You can still start a little bit later. If you didn't do it at the beginning of the day, you can take that 10 seconds and just take a deep breath and be like, I'm restarting right now. So that's the biggest thing is you don't have to have the whole day be bad because you had a horrible start.
It's true. Progress, not perfection. Yeah, I agree. I also tell my guys there's a formula I tell them, which you may relate to this just in what you're already doing. So first is V, which is vision. Mm-hmm. Then you have P, which is a plan. And then you have A, which is action. So those three things, from what I've learned from my mentors in life, allow you to become either successful or achieve what you want. But without them done in unison, you can't just manifest and sit and Benjamin's, will land on your lap.
Right.
Without having a plan.
Got to do your part.
Written, and then taking action.
Okay.
So I try to instill that in the guys too. And that's something I live by every day and just try to improve every day.
Something different about putting a pen on paper too.
It is. Gets us to commit. It opens up, in my opinion, another frequency in regards to things becoming real and manifesting as to how we want it to take place.
I think you're more expressive with it than, because I might not articulate that great, or I've got a Brazilian wife, so I speak like broken English at home. So sometimes I'm at work, I'm like, what's that word again? Like I forgot because I'm just used to my life with her. But when I write, like people are like, dude, you should write books. It's like, so definitely putting a pen on paper, making a list and planning that way I love it.
Yeah. Super, super important. I think it just connects you to your intention. It's funny. My wife also, she didn't speak that much English when I met her. We're almost 20 years now married.
That's awesome, man.
And we have similar backgrounds on, what we're talking about with our wives, which is really wild. No, but the written form. So like, think about when we sign documents. Mm-hmm. Why do we sign? We're authenticating the validity of whatever that.
It's you. Authentic.
It's
I'm doing this. It's me. My name is on it. Yeah, I love it.
It's not like, hey, we got a deal.
Right.
You just leave a blank document. Well, was it signed?
Right.
So that that started, I feel, way before the time for us to really understand it. And I think that those clues are left for us to use, and the power of putting it on paper, I think, is really important.
Yeah.
And then reading aloud too. I do that stuff in the morning too. Like
I pray out loud.
You do?
Yeah. There's something about verbalizing it versus saying it to yourself. Like I did when I was a kid. I played baseball, and everybody talks about like the hypnotist at the fair.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I bought that video, or my parents bought it for me or the CD for sports improvement. And like part of that was like, obviously you get that moment of just clarity and silence, and I call it meditating. So prayer is asking for God's help, meditation is listening for his answer. So getting into that comfortable state of meditation, being able to receive that, and then speaking it. I am good.
Yeah.
I'm going to win. And I pitch a no-hitter and hit a cycle, the same game. Like, what's going on here? There's a cheat code, but same thing happens in life, man, and it doesn't matter. But
I've gotten chills with you, by the way, a couple of times because I relate 100% to what you're saying. It's true. So like another example would be like when you're speaking it you said it in the present tense. Mm-hmm. So like that I feel has its own power that's much more powerful than anything else. And then when you link that with manifestation and other things, that creates it into reality. I'll give you a quick example. So there was a car that I wanted a long time ago.
Yep.
And, I was driving another car. I won't say models and stuff like that.
Right.
It was a nice car. And I started wearing to the gym the logo of the car I wanted because that was my intention.
Okay.
I didn't have it yet. I knew, though, I was going to have that. And I envisioned driving my old car and seeing the emblem of the car that I wanted when I was driving the other car. Sure enough, I want to say it was 7 months later, and I know things don't happen super quick, but coincidentally, 7 months later, I was shopping just to upgrade the current car that I had, which was a nice car. I was upgrading it to a better model. And just through fluke, here goes the other one that exactly I wanted that I thought was out of range. And I'm like, no, it's in range. And they end up calling me when I was doing a deal at another car dealership and saying, Mr. Torres, come get your car. We're ready. We were able to work the numbers, and here's your car. I was like, listen, don't give me a bait and switch. If I get over there, I'm leaving the office over here to do a deal. I'm going to come there. Don't do a bait and switch with me. No, Mr. Torres, it's here. I got there. Sure enough. And there was the car. And wow. Kind of like bringing that, what you said, in the present tense, mm-hmm. and almost forcing it to come to you based on the intention. And then obviously doing work and what it takes to make it happen.
Yeah.
But I really believe in the power of that, the manifestation of the
or giving you the opportunities to achieve it.
Yeah,
it's not going to land on your lap like you said. It's hey, here's this opportunity. Boom, now I have the ability to get what it is that I've been dreaming about, or
Exactly. Yeah.
I tell my wife that all the time.
Good. It's important.
Yeah,
it's super important. Yeah. So with going from beginning till now, we're doing a lot of commercial deals. The market now is bullish this year, more so than it was last year, and we look forward to the opportunity. The biggest kind of three sectors that we have now in commercial real estate would be development. Obviously, that's really number one right now. It's because of the major development. So when you have a soccer stadium coming into town that's going to spin off a downtown. You have the growth in tradition and the explosion of growth out there. You have a Wave Garden Midway Road that's a $500 million project. All those big projects spin off your national tenants, your Duncans, your QSRs, your other plazas,
and the property surrounding it.
That's right. Yeah. So we're in for a really good good opportunity for us ahead of us. And I think positioning is important too. So like before the bridge comes, it's always important to buy around wherever that may be, or start to strategically plan on what you're wanting to do around that area. I really love not only Port St. Lucie, but Fort Pierce. I think Fort Pierce is really
the
good
redevelopment
market.
district.
Yeah, I'm putting money up there and I'm buying stuff, and we're doing a lot of deals up there.
People are sleeping on Fort Pierce, man. Yeah. Everybody, like I grew up off of Midway, so I think it's more beautiful than Port St. Lucie. I claim Port St. Lucie now because I live here, but I mean, the only reason I don't go as often is because I'm in, right on the line, at Martin County line. Yeah, but Fort Pierce is still great, man. I guess it never was not great. I just don't get to experience it as much anymore.
Yeah, the waterway, like you're saying, is beautiful up there, and it has a perfect infrastructure now for the growth. You got a port there, international airport. I mean, it's
you got high-end guys with yachts that have the ability to come get it worked on while they're staying and hanging out in Fort Pierce, and that turning basin over there, all that property. I mean, I remember I've been seeing developments that are arising, and the marina. I spoke with a gentleman that's kind of heading that deal off. I don't care what I do. I want to do something on that. I don't care if I'm demoing. I want to be
we have
a part
connections there. The main developer is a client of ours doing that one off Seaway Drive.
Yep.
And it's a huge project, and it's cool to learn the history of what that used to be owned by the U.S. government. It was Navy. The Navy dredged all that for submarines, And so we have one of the deepest water ports that who knows in the future we'll have, cruise ships or whatever else may be here. So there's a lot of good opportunity in this little area. And, it's not getting cheaper. So the people that are tapped out in Miami and Palm Beach on pricing, they smell money up here, and there's a lot of good opportunity. And when you're local, I think it changes. We kind of get, in my opinion, the heads up on deals, and we share that with groups that are coming out of town that want to be in the market. And it's through relationships. The client that knows will be authentic with our dealings, and we're not going to just bring someone in to waste time. That they feel comfortable with someone who's local that's going to watch out.
Same with construction too. These guys are coming from out of town, like, oh yeah, all the inspectors. Like, dude, they love us. Like, we'll get this job done quick, and it's definitely part of.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
and that's why I don't think I'll ever leave, man. This is home.
Yeah, I'm the same. I like it here. Yeah, it's the fam is here, and
this area is what, an hour and a half to Miami, hour and 45 to Orlando, 2.5 to 3 for the Tampa area.
Yeah,
it's not, you can't really get any better. You got water on one side, woods on the other.
Exactly.
So,
and the timing's perfect for us now. I think those that live here now are finally going to get the amenities that we haven't had for a long time.
Yeah,
a downtown. There's
the Port District, the port of Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, right. Finally, a port, some type of port district. That's going to be a beautiful there. That project's going to be really nice too. Pull up on the boat, have food with the fam, and I'm excited about what's happening, and just going to keep every day, growing, learning, and this year, like I said, trying to focus more on purpose. So I'm going to be leaning more into that this year, because it's cool to help to do deals and. Money and helping the guys do deals. But I think when you inspire other people too, it kind of
it's inevitable. I think when you're successful or you gain to a certain point where like all of your needs are met, so to speak, that like there's no other way to go than to help the next guy.
Yeah.
Like and I guess for me, I always kind of had that in me still of wanting to help the next guy, but it's even this, everything has happened by like default, in my opinion. Like, it's just like, I never expected to want to help people, but guess what? Here I am. Never expected to have a podcast studio, but it's all just par for the course. And with that, obviously I want to encourage the next generation, mainly. So what would you say was, I guess, the turning point or the driving force for you at that younger age to not want to hang out, but to kind of move in the direction that you moved? Was it?
Wow. So for me, that would be figuring out the importance of life and doing it in a way where you weigh out where do you really want to be in life and how do you want to impact the world? Like what is it that you want to do? Party and go this way in life and destroy yourself, or do you want to rise up and be the best that you can with the blessing of gift of life that you're given every day? That's one part. And the other part would be to, make sure that whatever it is you're doing, you're following your passion. I know that there's stuff on Instagram, all this stuff, and but I think that you really need to follow your passion in life, no matter what anybody says. We teach our girls. I have 2 girls. Look, if you don't want to do commercial real estate and follow the family business, that's completely okay. Here are your routes and here are your options. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that what you're doing, it's your dream. Because at the end of it, if it's a ladder that's leaned up against the wrong wall, meaning the parent that's pushing the kid to do what they want, they dream about, once the kid gets there, it's kind of like, is this all there is? I want to make sure that in life, people should follow their passion no matter what it is. If it's helping other people, doing podcast, doing business, traveling and developing some kind of village somewhere to inspire other people in other countries that don't have opportunity, whatever it is, I think that's really important for people to do that, because at the end of the day, we're going to have good and bad days.
Yeah.
You might as well do something you love, because those bad days will come. And I think that if you're following your passion, it allows you to rise up and keep that thick skin and that endurance to keep pushing forward, versus someone that hates their job and they're doing it to pay bills and they're not doing their passion. They're doing what they got to do. They're still going to have good and bad days. So at some point they got to make a decision to cut all the bridges and the ties and go for it.
It's better to have a bad day doing what you love to do.
Amen to that. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's even that out too, because I think that's what I'd like to speak to the most is that if you're living in that worldly lifestyle of like, I got to go to work every day, I got this job, and it may not be your passion, I mean, you can utilize that time to do kind of whatever you want to do. Go to Barnes and Noble. Be intentional on taking the time that it is necessary, because time is probably the most valuable thing that any of us have.
Yeah,
so how do you spend it? And if you're in a spot where you want to grow, then it's taking that 2 to 3 hours a day or shoot an hour a day could change your life. And, being intentional about the path that you want to go down. And for me, that was the biggest thing, because like I probably listened to every single motivational video that there is on YouTube. I don't think now I go on there, I'm like, oh, heard this one. There's none on there left that I haven't heard. And I would listen to them on the way to work every day. I would listen to them while at the gym. I would listen to it on the way to work, reading the books. Like it's all the people that are successful have went down that path. And I was just doing it because I liked it and I enjoyed it. And I didn't realize that it was setting me up for, the next part of being growing and being successful. But I definitely, that's the biggest part that I want to get across here, is that how does my 15-year-old son watch this podcast and get growth or drive from it? How does your daughter watch this and say, hey, you know what he said is something that I can apply to my life? So that's what I was kind of looking for there, was what was going through your mind, if you can remember, that was like, I need to do this?
It was knowing that I was given the second. So it was knowing that I was given the second life, basically.
Okay.
Right?
So,
but I would say, if you do things in life as if they're life or death.
Okay.
Like, if you're not going to live tomorrow, what are you doing today?
Yeah.
What do you want to achieve? What dreams do you want to make happen? All the laziness goes away, because unfortunately people do the best that they want to do in life when they're about to lose something.
Yeah.
Or unfortunately when they've lost it.
When the pain gets great enough.
I joke with my guys. I was like, listen, everybody in the room, let's see everybody can jump, 4 feet, each one of you. There's some guys that are out of shape,
Right.
Like, boss, we're not jumping 4 feet. We can't jump that high. I said, okay. I said, what if somebody came in here with a fully automatic machine gun and said, you jump 4 feet or I'm going to shoot you and everybody in this room? Watch them become Jordan. They can jump.
I never knew I could jump 6 feet before.
So my point with that is that I think that the inspiration I would give to a kid or someone is, do today what you want to achieve as if it's life or death.
Okay.
If you're not going to live tomorrow, what are you doing today with your life to make sure you live proud of yourself, and that other people at your funeral are going to speak highly of you? And
what would you say? I mean, would be, I guess with the younger generation, or what I've noticed is that there's I guess it would be lack of knowledge of what they actually want to do, right? So what kind of advice would you have for somebody at a younger age to develop that purpose, or develop what it is they want to do?
Good question. So step 1, follow your passion and dreams. Step 2, think 10 years ahead of where we are in business and where we're going to be. AI is a big deal. That's going to take over a lot of jobs. It's going to take over a lot of industry. And so I think the kids now should pay close attention to that. So follow your passion, follow your dreams. And then the formula I mentioned earlier, V plus P plus A. So have a vision.
Write it down, put your plan written down, and then take action on it, and put a timeline on that too. If you have a plan to make X amount of dollars per month, I do this with my guys also, which relates to exactly what you just said. Reverse engineering your goals into where it is in the future and bringing it to the present allows you to dial in. If it's, let's say, $1 million you want to make at the end of the year, what does that equal now? It's $100,000 a month. What does it equal per day? Break it down to the specificity today, and then figure out, okay, for me to make for $3,000 a day, whatever that number is, what do I have to do in productivity? And you literally can write the blueprint to anything you want, any of these kids in the future that they really want, a car, money, a goal, a trip, by doing it that way. Think of the future, bring it to now, break it down, laser focused on the specificity of exactly what it is, and then you design your plan moving forward and take action on it. And then you start killing it.
That's right.
Yeah. I remember on the railroad, they had like what your production had to be to like kind of break even, I guess, or to it would be like, all right, you got to do 3,000 foot today. And I was like a newer, younger foreman at the time. And so I got like all the crew guys that none of the other senior superintendents wanted. So we were like the the castaway kids, and we were tripling what we needed to do in production rate. And like, I had 30-year superintendents calling me, like, what are you doing? I'm like, listen, they tell me where I got to be, or watch this, and not realizing, like, we're just young kids. We're making like $20 million a month for these people. And it's like, once you finally realize, you're like, man, I'm going to start doing this for myself.
So you tripled it then.
We were tripling it.
Beyond expectation.
And I wasn't cheating, but as a supervisor, we weren't allowed to run equipment. So like, but I would jump on equipment. Like we had radios, whenever like the big dogs would come around, like the secret word was pineapples. So if I heard them say something about pineapples, I'd hurry up and get off the extra grader or dozer. But I mean, we were producing more either way, like, and I bent the rules a little bit by running equipment as a supervisor, but that's how we did it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Break all the rules, not the law, but we break all the rules. I think that's super important. And everything that we
and the
do.
biggest their reasoning for not having the supervisor running equipment is because they needed to supervise, but we were all within visual distance of each other. It wasn't like, and we made it happen. And we heard pineapples quite a bit on the radio. And after I ended up leaving, everybody's like, so that's what you guys had going on over there. And we're like, I just saw one of the guys that was on my team. Like, and it was like a family atmosphere, like same thing. Like when you grow something and you have just something that's working in business or at work or whatever, like enjoy it, because it's a season that you'll be there. And when you're killing it for whether it's a week, a month, a year, enjoy those times as much as you can, because it might not come back around again. It may be the only time in your life that you get to experience something like that.
100%.
But
yeah, I agree with you. Last thing I would say for the little ones, or like what you're saying in terms of this generation, make sure that your goals and dreams are so big that people think you're nuts. If people aren't saying you're crazy, they're not big enough. And I think a lot of people put their level so low and they hit it, then to put it so high that they're nuts, that it stretches them beyond what they thought they were capable of doing. So I think that's really important too. I tell my girls to make sure they do that. Don't come to me with a normal, regular society goal and dream and hit it. Go here to the point. It seems like you can't achieve that, and then you'll see how that stretch works.
And the thing is, it's like, yes, you say like regular society, right? The thing is like, that's the bar. And not that we're better, or I think that I'm better than anybody or anything. I think I'm a little better off because of my outlook. And it's like, I don't see it as just a goal to get to and then I'm done. I see it as a waypoint in the journey, because there is no final destination. There's always like, you get to a point where you're like, all right, I got this goal. Now what? Where's the next one? And like you said, looking ahead, like, well, I'm going to have to eventually be here. So I need to do this, this, and this to get to there. So let me work these in between goals to get to where I want to go. And it takes writing it down. And, like I said, if you see what your goal is, if I got to get 3,000 feet every day, then I'm shooting for 5,000.
Yeah.
I'm shooting for 9,000. And it's like, and that, and not sitting back, not getting comfortable. It's like, all right, all of my needs are met. I'm good. I can sit on the couch for a little while. That ain't me, man. If someone told me, they're like, I don't know how you do that in your life. I don't know how you wake up at 4 a.m. I don't know how you do so much. And it's like, if my plate isn't overflowing, I'm not functioning properly.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen overnight. Like it got to a point where it's like, I just wanted to keep doing something because I just couldn't sit still. And now it's flourished and blossomed, and and finally, all those years of telling my son, do this, son, do that. And, now he's kind of like he's like, Dad, how do I start getting big in the gym? Like when I had the gym in the garage, he didn't want nothing to do with it. But now he's starting to get to that age where he's like, all right, I want to be, I want to learn how to get bigger. I was a firefighter for 6 years. He's wanting to do firefighting now. And it's like, but at the time he didn't have interest in it. So, if you have people in your life that are in front of you, take advantage of it, that are doing the stuff that are pretty extravagant things. Take advantage of it. That's why I want to lock in with you and definitely, get as much knowledge and wisdom as I can. And
Cool.
Because
No,
that's
absolutely.
yeah, for sure. I want to be part of the mentorship group, and
Yeah, no, we're gonna invite you next month, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be good. We bring in attorneys, buyers, sellers, bankers, land use attorneys, you name it. So it's not a normal group. It's a strategic group that puts deals together, and you'll like it. Kind of like a
Awesome.
mastermind if you think of it
Yeah,
that
yeah.
way, but blended in with commercial real estate, mechanics deals, off-market deals. You'll see a lot of private stuff that people they're like, hey, we see your signs here and there, but there's like 80% of deals in this town nobody sees signs.
Right.
And some of them are pretty significant buildings.
It's not a what you know, it's a who
You'll
you
see
know.
some of that, and you kind of be like, I didn't know that was for sale. And it's kind of cool we circulate that with our team of buyers that we've already done business with, and it just allows you to kind of be in a club of authentic people that are serious. And then obviously with what you're doing, your business, that's going to flow over, and not only what we're doing, but other clients.
Yeah, for
a lot
sure.
of development stuff going on.
Yeah, a lot of growth in
man.
general. So awesome conversation so far.
Yeah, man. Likewise.
I want to try to roll into. I think you talked a little bit about purpose, and what you're moving into. What kind of impact are you looking to leave on this earth? When, let's say 20 years after you're gone, what kind of impact are you wanting to leave behind?
Wow. Number one, I'm a family guy, so I want to make sure the family's taken care of, and that the family name is preserved in a way where, it stood for something, and the legacy of being able to help other people. My grandfather, when he came from Cuba, he brought a lot of people over from Cuba that weren't family members to help a lot of people get out. So to fill his shoes are going to be tough. He's going to turn 100, by the way, in March.
Wow.
We're going to go down to Miami to celebrate his 100th birthday.
Abuelo.
Yeah. Dr. Alex Rodriguez Torres. He's the OG.
Oh, wow.
And so with that said, he's taught us on how to be philanthropic and how to, help other people, be there and basically be, selfless. And so I want to take what I've learned from him, be able to apply it to people that I know, but teaching them to fish, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing I've given seller and buyer to some of my agents before. They'll tell you, here's a seller, here's a buyer, close them, and I'll help you close them. And I say that because it's not about the money. I want to see them get inspired, take care of their families, and that you've actually made a difference. They've cut all the bridges of the job and the stuff like that. Now they're following their dreams, investing in other property, all that stuff. So I think it's important not to just hand over stuff to someone, but teach them how to fish, so to speak. Teach them how to do deals,
empowerment,
how to do things different. Yeah, so like that's something I want to be able to inspire other people, help them ignite the best of who they are within what they already have and didn't know how to ignite that through just discipline, habits, and different things that they could follow that I've learned from other mentors. And success leaves cues, just like what you've figured out. I'm sure you do this, it's going to hurt you. You do this, it works, and I'll give you a faster track so you don't have to go through all that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to progress that into marriage coming up. That's something that's super
nice,
super important that nobody's talking about. That
there's a big need for it, man. There's been a big chunk of men that are in and around that divorce is rampant, and I think that when you put that on your finger, it's a no matter what kind of deal.
100%. And if you have, like, there's a saying, you have a strong woman behind you, you can achieve anything. You know what I mean? So with that said, there's a lot of unspoken in that world. There's a lot of things out there that are, drug rehab related, motivation related, but nobody's really focusing on that. But I think that there's a big demand on people to help in that sector. And so that's going to be one that, I'm touching on this year. But legacy would really be able to impact others so that I'm fulfilling my promise to God for giving me the gift of life.
Okay.
Back then it was to give back to those who are less fortunate than others, but I don't think it's that they're less fortunate. I think people sometimes don't have the same amount of knowledge and information that maybe, you and I have learned through different mentors and life experiences and all that. And the way I figure is if I can inspire someone just 1% and give them just 1% of something that helps them, I did my job. Basically, I'm keeping my promise. That's where I'm.
It's getting the phone calls a couple of years later, or seeing the guy coming out of when we do the jail ministry. You see them, they're like, "Man, thank you," and not that you need the pat on the back, but it just shows you that what you're doing means something, and that as much as I joke, I don't joke with people, but I tell people I think I get more from helping others than they actually get from me.
Yeah,
Like it's
wow, I
almost
love
selfish
that.
in a way that like some people won't understand unless they're out there doing it. But like I feel more fulfilled by helping others, and they think they're getting the world, but it's
Yeah, I agree 100% alignment with you. Those sessions we do at the office, I've gotten yelled at about them because they're 3 hours long. That's 3 hours of my time that I could be doing deals and making my own stuff. And again, it's like what you're saying. When you go to give with the right intention, the time kind of stops, and it's something you're passionate, and there's no catch. I think sometimes people do things in life with a catch, and
it's like when you get that new
short-lived.
girlfriend or the girl you're talking to on the phone, and you hang up, and you're like, man, I just went on the phone with her for 3 hours. Right? It's a new passion. It's a new thing that
Yeah.
So,
and I remember my wife, I was driving an hour and a half to Delray Beach, and I wouldn't drive 10 minutes in this town to see any female. So I'm with you there too. I would drive to her, not even thinking it's an hour and a half,
Yeah.
just dialed in. So, but in terms of like, purpose and helping other people and doing what you love, I think that it comes natural to you when your intention is right. If you're aligned the right way, like I see what you're doing as authentic and in the right alignment with what you're supposed to do. And by you just flowing with it, like I commend you, because I think you're using the instrument that you have the right way. There's no scripts here. Like I love it. This for me, I don't do a lot of podcasts like at all. You'll see, you can look me up. I'm not even on social media. There's something that's cooking with that I don't have control of.
It's
And I'm not even
like
out
I
there.
said, no coincidences, man. How things just happen, and we came together, and everything. I see it every day. I know it's God. Like I that's what I tell people. I'm like, when you know you're on the right path, like everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, and not always does it, but you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So definitely glad to have been here talking with you. I think maybe we went over time, but definitely blessed, happy, inspired, and I definitely look forward to doing some more stuff with you.
yeah, man, I appreciate it, and guys, thank you for watching. And if you got any questions or anything, we're definitely going to post his links in the bio, and don't forget to comment. And we appreciate you for watching episode